Miami at Florida, Saturday, 3:30 Eastern kick, ESPN, Heat Dome, parked over the southeast. High pressure has got it intensely hot down here. Hey, if they die, they die. 3:30 kickoff in the Swamp. It's going to be a really good one. The whole new Saturday tour in town, and we've been looking forward to this one for a long time. I was pretty much sure we were going to this one in the spring, and now we've locked it in. So the whole new Saturday tour, fueled by Quick Trip, going to be there. I'll be on the sidelines for this one. Copious amounts of sunscreen on the head for obvious reasons. This is the number 13 team and number 21 team in the JP poll. I don't even know what the AP says. It's a pressure cooker of a game. I think there's a bunch more pressure on Billy Napier than there is Mario Cristobal. I think a lot of this has been painted in the media as, boy, losers on the hot seat. Well, Mario's not on the hot seat if he loses this game. Billy Napier is. And so I think there's a lot more. He's got home field advantage here. I think there's a lot more pressure. I think they've got a lot more to prove at Florida. Lower expectations for Florida this year as well. Question for you. How effective will this Miami offense be right out of the gate this year? Week one, this is not Bethune-Cookman. This is not a tune-up game. They got to go into the most hostile environment they'll play in all year. The most hostile environment most people on this roster have played in. This offense at Miami, I think, will eventually be effective this year. But I can't shake this idea from my mind that they could be clunky out of the gate. And that's because this sport's really hard. And then you got the whole helmet communication thing, and you're trying to take that piece on the road. And I listened to Shannon Dawson the other day. I have talked to Shannon Dawson about this, and they can say all they want to about how, well, if Cam Ward can't hear, because it sounds like he's surrounded by jet engines in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, if he can't hear, we got checks for that, we'll be fine. No one's ever fine on the road in college football. The best you do is manage on the road in college football. That's the best you do. And the ones who make it look easy are few and far between. So you got that. You got the whole newness factor of Cam Ward working with a lot of guys, working in an offense for the first time. Ton of skill here. Ton of skill. I think they're surprisingly deep at tailback. I think the offensive line, very, very good unit. They're going to be a very high-level offense, and maybe they come out of the gate firing. I just think how impractical that is going into this environment in week one. So you got the crowd and all of those other things, and that's why running back depth is important here. Jordan Lyle, for example, is a true freshman running back. I think they flipped him from Ohio State. I mean, I think in terms of matchup, he gives them a really good look on the perimeter, getting to the perimeter. Damian Martinez is a guy they got from Oregon State, and he'll be a focal point of the offense. Who knows? 3 or 4 touches for Jordan Lyle may be the difference there. We talked about Elijah Arroyo a whole lot last year at tight end. This year, stay healthy, every finger here crossed. That's a guy along with Restrepo. Sam Brown's a receiver they got from Houston. Got good weapons there. It's another thing to make sure all those weapons just look like that right out of the gate. That's not normal in college football. So if you can do that, you're the exception to the rule. Then the second thing I'm focused on in this game, same question, but for Florida. How effective is the Florida offense right out of the gate? Are there matchups out wide to exploit here? Eugene Wilson, you can make an argument the most skilled wide receiver in this game, either sideline. But at the same time, I could make the argument Florida's about to see the fiercest pass rush maybe they see all year. And this is a team that's going to play a murderer's row of a schedule, but that pass rush Miami brings is about as good as anyone's going to feature this year. Arliss Boardingham at tight end, another good option for Graham Mertz if he has time, if he can get the ball out in time, if they can give him adequate protection. It's one of the great questions around Florida football this year is the offensive line. And the other thing, early in the season, what do we see all the time? In fact, in college football in general, what do we see? We see a lack of the basic skill of tackling in the secondary. Well, can you get your guys on the perimeter? Can you make defensive backs tackle you instead of guys who will do it all day long if you let them on the interior? And the other thing, I was at Florida's opening game last year out in Utah. I was there. And I stood there and I watched the missed field goal and I watched 9 penalties and I watched duplicate numbers on the field extend a drive. And that ended up, I think, in a score. And so procedurally, special teams, where's the edge there? Do we have one? Cam Ward. Cam Ward was prone to turn ball over up at Washington State. So for everyone who looks at how full the glass could be, right out of the gate, is it that full? Also, Miami carrying 6, 7 new starters on defense. This is an environment that if you don't have everything ratcheted up, you don't have every bolt nut tied really tight, it can rattle you and you can come undone. It's happened to many a team in that building. As you can tell, I've had a really hard time on this game. So, Colin, let's take a look at what the model thinks, and it's really close to what FanDuel thinks. Right now, as we sit here on this Tuesday night, Miami is a 2.5-point favorite. Model agrees. We got Miami -2. I am extremely conflicted in this one because I keep going back to thinking there is more desperation on Florida's side. Obviously, home field advantage. How intimidating an environment that can be, how easily that place rattles you, especially if you've got newness on offense. And then on the other side, I think to myself, Miami's pass rush can take over the game. And there are probably a few too many green arrows pointing north. I think when I look at that matchup, both sides for Miami, thought Florida early this morning, shifted to Miami this afternoon, man, by the slimmest of margins. I'm rolling Miami to win and cover. I mean, because the line is under a field goal anyway. I have no feel on that one. You will not have a dime of my money bet on a side.